सो हेलो गाइस, वेलकम टू द माय चैनल। आपका स्वागत है एज ऑफ लव लेस्बियन लव स्टोरी में। आप सबको ये स्टोरी कैसी लग रही है कमेंट कर देना। ज़्यादा टाइम वेस्ट नहीं करते हैं आप लोगों का और स्टोरी को स्टार्ट करते हैं। सो लेट्स गो।
This is Thanksgiving party, right? I thank you for offering me wine, but I prefer choose which Bree is bringing for me. Madhu answered with a satire which Tom didn't like and he walked away. Madhu knew that those step-siblings of Bree taunted her all the time, so Madhu never liked them, who hurt her close friend and might be now more than a friend. Bree saw Dom talking to Madhu from a distance. She came along with the waiter who held the tray. Bree gestured the waiter to keep the tray on the table. The waiter kept the tray of mocktails and snacks of potato fries and wedges on the table and took a leave from Bree. Dom bothered you? Bree asked, sitting on the couch before Madhu. Might be he is bothered because of me now, Madhu said, smiling. Bree knew Madhu's quick-witted responses and she smiled. Smiling and staring at her, Bree offered her mocktail and snacks. Madhu took the glass but was hesitating to sip it in that atmosphere. Don't worry, I went to check on that. It is a pure pineapple mocktail. I had asked the chefs to prepare the food for you in a purely vegetarian way, as we got an Indian chef for a special guest tonight. He prepared food under Aunt Betty's supervision, so nothing is mixed in your food and drinks, Bree said confidently, staring at her. Madhu stared at Bree and saw loyalty and love in her eyes. No need to explain. I trust you. By the way, thanks, saying, she smiled, looking down, and Bree held the glass, gesturing cheers, and they both took a sip of mocktail. Bree was staring at her continuously while drinking. Stop looking at me like that, Madhu said, contemplating. Bree blushed, scratching her forehead. She said, then tell me how I should look at you. Hearing her, they both blushed again. I want to talk to you, Madhu, Bree asked her again this time. Now? Please, not now, Bree, Madhu requested, looking at the crowd. Then could you please tell me when? I have been waiting to talk to you from last 15 days, Bree urged, looking at her. Madhu took a long breath and said, Bree, this is not the right place, and honestly, I am not ready to talk about what happened. At least not here, in front of so many people, Madhu requested, looking down. Okay, then tomorrow? Bree asked. Okay, fine, Madhu blushed. University is closed for 3 days now on Thanksgiving, so I will come to your place or you come to mine tomorrow. Is that fine? And don't worry, I will not do or say anything that would make you uncomfortable. I just need to talk and clear things, Bree said, looking at her with a hope. Yes, Madhu muttered, nodding her head. Your place or mine? Bree asked with a wink. You come to my place, Madhu smiled, and Bree smiled with her answer. Morning? Bree asked again. Yes, Baba, morning or any time which is suitable for you, Madhu said softly. I can't wait for the whole day. I will meet you first thing in the morning. Anyhow, I have nothing much to do. Bree mocked stylishly and giggled. Madhu gracefully smiled, looking here and there. They both enjoyed the party. Bree's friends and relatives offered her to join and eat the turkey, which was the main dish of that party. But Bree denied their offer with a smile and sat along with Madhu. Madhu couldn't stop loving the gesture of her care. Smiling, she said, You can give me company by eating your non-vegetarian food. It is your culture. It was their culture to eat non-vegetarian, especially turkey on that day. Madhu didn't wish Bree to leave her culture on that celebration night in front of all her relatives and friends. Bree smiled. I eat non-vegetarian food every day, but I have decided to enjoy vegetarian food today. Let me see what our chef has prepared. Saying, Bree took a bite of paneer tikka starter and said, it is tasty. Please have a bite. She gestured to Madhu to start eating. Madhu took a bite looking at her. They enjoyed the Indo-American food fiesta. Bree slept late as she was happy that finally Madhu agreed to talk. She kept on staring at the ceiling of her room, imagining Madhu's smiling face, and smiled. On the other hand, Madhu also couldn't stop thinking about Bree. She blushed, hiding her face under her pillow. She was excited that she would be meeting Bree next morning. Just like Bree, she wanted an answer for her feeling. On the contrary, she was also nervous to meet her. She slept in her thoughts. The next morning, Bree woke up late and got ready hurriedly to meet Madhu. She was running without eating, but Betty didn't allow her to leave without having her breakfast. Bree was in a hurry to meet Madhu. She asked Betty to pack the breakfast and coffee for two. Betty was happy seeing the change of happiness in Bree. She knew it was because of Madhu, and something was bothering Betty with those changes, although she didn't share her concern with Nancy yet. Madhu woke up early in the morning. She cleaned the mess in her house and prepared sandwiches and smoothie for breakfast for both of them. She never ate without taking bath and worshipping God. After preparing breakfast, she took a bath and did her routine worship and got ready in Indian attire of white dhoti style pant and a designer pink colored top, and did light makeup as usual. Habitually, she wore Indian dresses on special occasions, and that day was also special for her. The doorbell rang. Madhu ran towards the door before opening the door. She checked herself in the mirror and opened the door. It was Bree standing before her on the door, wearing a pair of jeans, white top, a jacket to beat the cold, and light makeup, smiling at her, holding a basket of coffee and burritos for breakfast for both of them from her home. "Hello," Bree greeted on the door with a smile and gazed at Madhu. "You are looking beautiful," she completed her sentence after a pause. Madhu blushed and replied, "Hi, so do you," and welcomed her. Bree walked inside and handed her a basket of breakfast. "I woke up late. Aunt Betty didn't leave me without eating, so I thought I'll have breakfast with you. We could have gone out, but since you wished to talk in private, so I thought we will have chats and bites here, at your lonely place." Winking at her, Bree said. Bree was confident with Madhu's gestures that she also has feelings for her. "Nothing like that. It is too cold out there. I don't feel like going out. And by the way, I have also prepared breakfast for us," Madhu said, smiling at her, keeping her basket in the kitchen and showing her the sandwiches and smoothie. "Wow, so let's not wait and have breakfast first, cause I am starving," Bree said, mocking. They both served breakfast and poured the smoothie in large glasses and saved coffee for later. They enjoyed the food in each other's company. After breakfast, Bree helped Madhu to clean the tables and dishes. They both did the chores with casual talk about friends and eating places. Madhu always wondered, when Bree has so many restaurants in her name, why she is doing her MS in computers. And that day she asked her. Bree joked, "I love to eat, but I hate cooking. So I'll ask computers to prepare food in my restaurants." Madhu giggled hearing her out and kept aside the dishes that were washed. "But you cook very well," Bree said, staring at her. In India, most girls are trained to cook even before they know how to eat on their own. "Thanks, by the way," Madhu replied, washing her hands. They both smiled and walked into the living room and sat on the couch, playing the light music. They didn't even know how to begin the talk of their feelings for each other. They both always loved each other's nature of never talking the things in which opposite person gets uncomfortable. After a couple of minutes, Bree asked, "Shall we talk?" Madhu nodded her head with a yes. Bree took a long breath and said, "Madhu, I always liked you as a friend, as a person. You are an amazing, amazing person I have ever met. I've always felt lucky that you are my friend. But that day on Diwali, something happened to me. First of all, you look gorgeous in these Indian dresses. That day also, you pulled me with your sari. I ignored those jumping feelings inside me. But when I saw you with Neil that next day, something went wrong with me. I had a hard time thinking of you with Neil or anybody. And I realized the way I started feeling for you, I never felt like that before. Not for my previous boyfriends, no friends, no man or woman. I like you, and I think I'm falling in love with you. I don't know if it is right or wrong in your mind, but I can't hold these feelings for long. and I don't want to lose your friendship either. You are the only good thing that has happened to me in years. You have such a pure soul and you are so pious person that she was continuing her talk non-stop and Madhu interrupted her in the middle. Bree, you had me at hello, Madhu said, looking down, blushing. Bree got surprised and looked at her, widening her eyes, and remembered she said hello on the door and giggled, thinking about that famous dialogue of Jerry Maguire movie. There was a happiness covered with no words between both of them for some time. Bree didn't wish to rush on anything, neither talk nor action. They never talked about sex or boyfriends before. Though Madhu knew Bree had boyfriends previously, yet she was always hesitant to talk about Bree's relationships, as she felt it was a personal matter. Bree knew Madhu was shy to talk about physical intimations. She already hurried that day by kissing her abruptly, so she wanted to take everything slowly with the wish and will of Madhu. Madhu sighed and broke the silence. Bree, me neither. I never felt like this before for anyone. I couldn't bear your avoidance. I can't stop thinking about you. I didn't know what was wrong with me. And after that day, when you kissed me, Madhu blushed with a pause. I think I'm also in love with you. Madhu looked at her and blushed, closing her face with her hands. Bree smiled with relief and she blushed as well, scratching her forehead. So that makes us both gay, Bree said with a smile and a wink. I searched on the internet and all the sites confirmed me that I am gay. And I was having hard time thinking that I am gay. Madhu shyly looked down. Me too, Bree smiled. They looked at each other with a pause. They laughed out louder and lied on the couch holding each other's hand. So what next? Bree asked, smiling at her. That was the moment when Bree asked Madhu, what next? And Madhu had no idea what to do next, as their relationship has turned everything that they experienced or aimed in the past. Lying on the couch beside each other, they fell into the thoughts of their past and clueless predictions. Madhu once told Bree that she is still a virgin and never been kissed. Bree laughed, hearing her out. Madhu explained she was always covered in her shell of books and study. She never noticed if anybody ever liked her. Back in India, she never had any close friends. Just like Arjun's aim of bird's eye in Mahabharata, she aimed to study and get a degree in a reputed university of the world. Madhu had also explained why she was like that. Many girls in India struggle to get higher studies due to financial crisis or people's mindset. And she wished to build such institutions all over India, where girls can study for free. Bree understood her feelings, and after that, she never made fun of Madhu and respected her morals. Bree never had any aims in life. As she was good at studies and computers, she pursued MS. She had 51% of shares of her company and all her properties, and the rest 49% was in the name of Nancy and was supposed to go to charity after the death of Nancy. Brianna had worked part-time as a waitress and manager from her teenage years in all her restaurants. But from the past 3 years, when Nancy got married, the second time Brianna was addicted to alcohol as she couldn't share the love of her father with her stepfather and her step-siblings who never liked her and always ready to drag Bree's leg. From then, she stopped working in the restaurants and wasted her time along with her friends in partying and tours. I don't know, Madhu said and broke the silence. After Bree's question of what's next. Shall we watch a movie? Your choice of romance, in your language. Hope they have subtitles, Bree said in an American accent, turning towards her. She knew Madhu loved Telugu romance movies. I'll put a movie which has subtitles, Madhu said, smiling. Okay, let's see what's that choice of romance you have. Bree winked, staring at her, which brought shyness on the face of Madhu. I will play one of my favorite movies, hoping that you would like it, saying Madhu opened her laptop. I will love whatever you play, Yoda. By the way, what's the name of the movie? Bree mocked stylishly. Ye Maya Chesave. Madhu said, gazing at her as she meant that for her. What does that mean? Bree asked, looking into her eyes. You Google it. By the way, it meant for you, Madhu said, biting her lips, opening the file of a movie and played it. By that time, Bree instantly opened her mobile and Googled the meaning by asking her to spell the movie, and she was amazed to know what Madhu meant by that. The movie started playing with the subtitles. I loved the title itself, and I have the same question to you too, Bree said, looking at Madhu. Madhu blushed and kept the laptop on the small table before them without looking at Bree. They both enjoyed watching the romance in each other's company. Though they had watched many English movies in Bree's home, but this movie was something special because they were watching first movie together after falling in love with each other. When there was a kissing scene in the movie, Madhu was shy to sit beside Bree. She made excuses to get away, but Bree held her hand and asked her to sit, gesturing by her eyes. After that, their eyes spoke, and no words required while staring at each other. Bree didn't leave her hand throughout the movie. When the movie got finished, Bree said, "This was nice. I kind of started liking everything that is made in India." Madhu blushed hearing her. She went to the kitchen to heat the coffee. Bree smiled seeing her shyness and went to the washroom. When Bree came out, Madhu stood at the window, watching the snowfall. Bree saw her beauty and clicked a candid photo of her love from mobile. Madhu saw that and Bree took a few more snaps with every look and move of hers. She showed the pictures to Madhu, which brought a smile on Madhu's face. Madhu was watching the snowfall which started on that day by tying her hands across. Bree wished to hold her in her arms but made a distance and stood behind her, keeping her hands in her pocket. Madhu softly said, "I'm seeing snowfall for the first time in my life. It is beautiful." I have been seeing it ever since I was born. But this year, it is looking beautiful. Bree smiled looking at the snowfall in the presence of Madhu. Hearing that, Madhu shyly turned her face down towards her and observed that Bree was standing close to her but didn't touch her. She felt the warmth in that closeness of Bree. She knew that this time Bree would not touch her without her wish. She blushed with a sigh. She leaned to Bree without turning back and took off Bree's hands from her pocket and wrapped them around her waist. That touch brought goosebumps in her. She shyly closed her eyes, biting her lips. Bree got astounded with her act, and her heartbeats increased. Madhu was looking down and gripping the hands of Bree by her hands. Bree exhaled, smiling at her, and held her in her arms from back and rested her chin on the shoulder of Madhu. Bree's touch thrilled Madhu and raised the sensation in her neck. "I never felt like this before, Bree. Your touch and closeness is so warm," Madhu whispered, trembling. Bree got aroused with her touch and words. She moved her face in the neck of Madhu and mumbled, "Madhu, your scent is always awesome. And how come you are so soft?" Madhu chuckled hearing that. "I am a girl. I am soft just like you," she smiled, holding her hands. Bree smiled hearing that. "Madhu, can I kiss you, please?" Bree whispered in her ears. Madhu closed her eyes and nodded with yes. Bree kissed her neck all over from the back, so intently that aroused Madhu and increased her heartbeats and breath. She squeezed her grip on the hands of Bree with every touch and kiss of hers. Bree slowly turned her around and pinned her to the closed window. Staring at Madhu, she raised her face, holding her chin. "Madhu, I am going crazy about you," she whispered. Madhu took fast breaths in reply. Her eyes were still closed. Bree slowly put a kiss on her forehead, on her cheeks, on her beautiful long nose, which brought a tiny smile on Madhu's shy face. Then she kissed her on her chin. Their heartbeats were pounding. Madhu surrendered herself to Bree, slowly placing her hands on Bree's shoulder. Bree took a slow leap and moved her fingers on her lips. Madhu's soft pink lips and her soft body touch was fascinating Bree. She never felt those sensations while having physical intimacy with her boyfriends. Now she understood why. No matter of their looks and personality, she never liked those rough touches and manly bodies of those boys. Smiling after recalling her sexual preference and her love standing before her, Bree moved her face to kiss the lips of Madhu. And suddenly, Bree's phone started ringing and they got distracted. They both looked at each other and giggled, blushing. The phone was still ringing.
चलो आज के लिए तो इतना ही। पर मुझे ये नहीं पता कि आप लोग देख रहे हो या नहीं, मतलब एंड तक देख रहे हो या नहीं, मुझे ये नहीं पता। तो मैं डिसाइड नहीं कर पाती हूँ कि मैं नेक्स्ट पार्ट लाऊं या ना लाऊं। तो ये चीज़ मेरे माइंड में रहता है। अगर आप देख रहे हो लास्ट तक तो कुछ ना कुछ कर दो यार, कमेंट, लाइक, कुछ तो।